Welcome back everyone, I hope you're doing well, and today we're going to the preparation tab in the main menu and going over the newly reworked talent glyph system, including all the nodes and giving my thoughts on each one, whether they're useful or useless, and what characters may benefit or want to ignore certain nodes. As soon as you find this video helpful, please consider hitting the like button and subscribe to the channel for more Naraka videos like this. Feel free to leave a comment if you know something about any of these talents with a specific hero and things like that. And let's get into it. So let's quickly look at how this talent tree works. There are 4 color-coded sections, each with 3 tiers. We start with 20 points, and once you've put 4 points into the first tier of one color, the next tier of that color will open up. You can put the 4 points of a tier into either node as you see fit, but once you've put 4 points into one tier, it's locked and you can no longer put any more points into that tier. The final tiers only hold 2 total points, so make sure you choose your major talents wisely. Alright, we'll start with the purple tree, known as the spirit tree, as you can see in the text here. We start out with a choice between stamina recovery between 3 and 6% from the rested strength node, and grapple speed and distance lumped together in the divine chains talent. Honestly, both of these are very good bonuses to have in any game mode. Grapple speed and distance can really help chase someone down or run away yourself. And a slight stamina recovery increase can be the difference maker in an intense fight with constant dodging and repositioning. Personally, I kind of like to split my points on this tier, giving me 4% stamina recovery, 25% grapple speed, and 21% grapple distance. This middle ground is nice for a versatile selection of situations. Now let's move on to the middle tier of the spirit tree. Here you have the choice between agility, a slight stamina reduction on every kind of dodge, or you can unlock the ability to dodge before launching your parry punish attack, and it will give a slight heal when the parry follow-up lands. I would say the stamina cost reduction talent is probably better here in general. Even though the stamina cost reduction amount is pretty small, I think it's generally more impactful than dodging before parry punish, even with a slight heal on parry, especially since the heal amount is so low. However, the parry dodge can be really useful in team modes if used correctly, and just because one node is objectively better doesn't mean that you shouldn't use the talents that sound fun to you or match your playstyle. I encourage everyone to use what sounds cool to them, and most of these nodes have minuscule effects on the actual outcome of fights, so don't worry too much about finding the meta build. The final tier of the purple tree has a pretty interesting choice. It's between recovering 6 or 12% stamina on dodge, which sounds very good, honestly. Probably one of the best nodes on the board. And Spirit Dash, which gives a new ability. You can hold dodge during sprinting to start a purple focus rush move that constantly drains stamina but knocks back any enemies that you hit. This thing seems super niche, but I've been using it because it's so fun to just run through people with some weird animation that they've never seen before, and I feel like it catches a lot of people off guard. It can also be utilized for a quick, long dodge, which has been helpful for me in some fighting situations. I don't know, I think this move is really unique and cool, and I don't really care that I'm foregoing the meta stamina node in favor of having more fun in the game. So that's the spirit tree for purple. Now let's move on to the offense in the red zone. First up, we have a node that boosts rage gained per damage done. This is a classic stat that was in the old talent tree system. We all know how powerful extra rage on damage can be, and it's highly useful on every character in the game. But let's look at the other node in this tier called high impact. High impact increases skill damage by 1.25% per point, up to 5% extra damage on skills. This sounds decent, right? Wrong. Let me show you how negligible a 5% damage boost is. Let me move out of the way here. Let's take Viper, for example. Her F2 does big damage, right? So we made sure we don't have the node on, we have a gold weapon, and let's see how much damage it does. Okay, 560 damage on F with gold weapon and no boost. Now let's put 4 points into high impact and see how much it does now. Alright, let's see how much damage we get out of this node every time we use our F skill. 28 damage. 28 more damage per F skill usage on one of the hardest hitting Fs in the game. That is pitiful. I say this node sucks, but if you use your F skill twice a minute and a game lasts around 15 minutes, that's a potential 30 F skill uses with 28 more damage per use. That means the node could theoretically get you around like 800-ish bonus damage for the match. That actually doesn't sound that bad. I don't know, comment down below if you like or dislike this high impact node, and let's move on to the next red tier. So first we have Savagery, giving a bonus to passive rage recovery up to 40%. 40% extra passive rage recovery is massive, and this makes it take considerably less time for your ultimate to charge. It's a great node, honestly. The other mid-tier node is Haste, which gives skill cooldown reduction up to 12%. I think this one is also very good, but not necessarily for every character. Like sure, and in solo mode it's probably good for most heroes since it'll likely be reducing the cooldown of a defensive combo breaking ability. But in trios, not every character's F skill is making a large enough difference to justify leaving 40% rage recovery on the table. And I kind of feel like this node isn't that great anyway, unless you have at least 3 points in, since 6% skill cooldown doesn't give a lot of value. And for the last tier in the red offense tree, we have Aura Effect, which says when defeating an enemy with a skill, reduce that skill's cooldown by 50 or 100%, so this can give your F skill built-in soul release capabilities. This could go great on any hero that has a damaging F skill like Viper, Enorwan, Faria, Yodo, Shiol, Tarka. Just so many heroes now that have high damaging F skills that would benefit from getting a free refresh. One caveat here is you get no value out of refreshing your skill's cooldown after you kill an enemy if there's not immediately another enemy around for you to take advantage of skipping the F skill cooldown. I would say Aura Effect is pretty good. The other top tier red node is Essence Draw. When you parry, kill an enemy, pick up a Soul Bloom, or grapple a green focus player, Rage Conversion will be increased by 20 or 40% for 15 seconds. Rage Conversion is Rage on damage dealt and Rage on damage taken. So for 15 seconds after any of those previously mentioned actions, you get a huge increase to Rage generation. It won't activate at 90% Rage so that you don't waste the proc, and it has a 2-minute cooldown so it's not getting spammed because that would be OP. I think this is a great talent, and I recommend it for the red tree's final tier in most cases. And we'll take a look at the body tree, colored in green. The Enrage node increases your rage gain when taking damage up to 12%. In the old talent system, this was a red node, but now it's in the green area, so you can still have it alongside your red rage boosting nodes if you want to go fully into rage generation. Then the other first tier node for green is Robust, which gives you a flat HP bonus that is pathetically small. Like, I don't know who is spending 4 talent points on 30 HP. That seems so ridiculous. I'd like to see this node get changed into something more useful, I think, or at least buffed to be like 120 HP, equivalent to a blue health soul jade. Maybe that's too much. I don't know. Let me know what you think of this node in the comments. But we'll move on to the mid tier. And first we have Heartfire, which gives you a certain amount of your ultimate charge at the beginning of the game. This node is great for winning off-spawn fights since it ensures you will have your ultimate as fast as possible. If you combine this node with landing at a Firefly location, you can have your ultimate fully charged within the first few seconds of the game. And this is even more deadly on characters that can use their ultimate before it's at 100% charge, like Tessa or Justina V2. Then we have the Blunt node. Hell yeah, love a good blunt. This one says, while weapon focused, gain damage reduction from specifically weapon attacks up to 20%. This isn't actually that bad, but I also think it isn't that great, mostly because the situation of taking weapon damage during your own weapon focus is not super common. But 20% damage reduction is very nice. For the last green tier, the first one is Resolute. This one gives a 15-second damage reduction when your ultimate is cast, up to 20% with a 2-minute cooldown. This can be a useful node on many characters, since the time when it sucks the most to die is in the first 15 seconds after you activate your ultimate. However, this wouldn't make much of a difference on a character like Valda, since she already gets a health overshield during her ultimate, but Monk greatly benefits from this since he usually gets lobbied as soon as he gets big. And the last node is Lightstep, which gives access to the green focus combo breaking mechanic known as Disengage. You build your disengage meter by getting staggered and comboed, and once the meter is full, you can press space to activate the disengage. The counterplay for disengage is that it can be grappled, and that stops the enemy from disengaging from the fight. I think this is an especially great node for solos, since it gives you endless chances to break out of life-threatening combos, even if your combo-breaking defensive ability is on cooldown. I wouldn't sleep on green focus. And finally, we have the strategy section labeled in blue. First tier has a choice between Shared Fortune, which gives your whole team bonus luck and discounts when purchasing anything at a Rift dealer, and Wealth, which gives you a passive Dark Tide coins income up to 24 per 10 seconds. These both tend to be a little more useful in Immortal War, where buying things from Rift dealers becomes super important, But with Shared Fortune, you can stack luck up to 900 and shopping discount up to 4.5%, which I think is lower than the previous Glyph board's maximum price cut. I don't actually remember how much it used to be, but I'm pretty sure it was more than 4.5%. Anyway, for the middle tier, we have discount, which gives you up to a 40% discount on the new pawn shop mechanic, where you can sell weapons and soul jades to buy back in the next game of the same type. So a 40% discount for this mechanic is pretty nice, though I guess this doesn't apply to tournaments, so this probably isn't competitively viable, but a pretty great choice for ranked and quick match. The other choice here is to be absolutely blessed with up to 1000 bonus luck when opening gold and green stashes. If you pair this with the luck from Shared Fortune, maybe on a whole trio, I'd be surprised if you ever found a gray weapon. And for the final tier, we have Spender. If you have more than 3000 Darktide coins when you use your ultimate, you consume 3000 Darktide coins to increase your attack and your damage reduction by 4.5 or 7% for 30 seconds with a 2-minute cooldown. This one is kind of interesting. I'm not sure that small of a damage increase is substantial enough to justify automatically using $3,000 on ultimate, because when I was testing it, it just didn't feel like it was making a very noticeable difference. It does last for 30 seconds though, regardless of if your ult lasts for 30 seconds or not. So if you're Tessa, you still get the buff for 30 seconds after you use your ultimate. And the last node on the talent tree is Armorer. If you have 2000 Darktide coins when your armor breaks, you consume 2000 Darktide coins to restore 12 or 20% of your armor with a 1-minute cooldown. This sounds decent. I mean, if I have a gold armor, then a 20% heal is 1 full bar for 300 armor. 20% with a blue armor would heal for 180. That's not terrible, but still kind of small. I guess with a gray armor though, a 12% heal would give me 72 armor. That's not even 1 light attack, so it doesn't seem like it does a whole lot unless you have 2 points in the node and at least like a purple armor. And even then, it's taking your money to heal you for much less than the cost of heals. So you might be better off just taking a reset rather than using this node. So I guess let's look at some example board setups with some characters to give you an idea of how to assess your heroes with your preferred playstyle to figure out what nodes will work best for you. And when you're playing, try to remember your talent build in the back of your mind the whole time so that you can take full advantage of your new abilities. Obviously, don't get your armor broken on purpose just for the heal from Armorer. I don't think that's tech, but I'm just saying, like, don't forget that you have dash and you don't use it all game. That's just a waste of talent points. So let's say you want to set up your talents for Valda and solos, playing F1 and V2 because you love doing cheesy one-shot combos at the cost of not having a defensive ability to save your life when you inevitably make a major mistake. So now that we know what all the nodes do, let's start eliminating some nodes that won't work for our character. For example, we can just cross out high impact since Valda's F1, even her F2, just doesn't do any damage. So we get no value from that. And aura effect as well, since even though we can use F1 to set up a kill, it doesn't refresh the skill cooldown since the enemy doesn't actually die from the damage of the skill itself. So let's say we want to start with some rage on damage. You can never really go wrong with that, so we'll just put 4 points into that. Now that we're here, let's just continue down the red tree. So we have skill cooldown and passive rage recovery. Well, the cooldown on Valda's F1 is only 18 seconds. If we go with skill cooldown, we'd need all 4 points to really get decent value, and even then, we only reduce our skill cooldown by about 2 seconds on an already relatively short cooldown. So I'm thinking I like savagery a bit more here. We'll be getting our ultimate 40% faster with this, so now we've got a good ultimate heavy build starting to form. Now we know we don't want aura effect. We already know that. So let's just put 2 points into essence draw since it further supports our ultimate build by giving us bonus rage conversion at key times throughout the match. So far so good, that's half our points and we still have 10 left. My gut is telling me to go for Swift Mind here, since a 12% stamina refund on every dodge makes it a lot easier to manage your stamina, but I don't really care. I want Spirit Dash because I like to run through people, I think it's hilarious, so I'll just start putting points into the purple tree and make my way to Spirit Dash. Now, since I'm thinking of not getting Swift Mind, I feel obligated to put at least 2 points into Rested Strength for the passive bonus stamina recovery, and then I think I want 2 points in Divine Chains for the extra grapple speed and distance as well, helping me chase and escape. That opens up the next tier where, again, I think I'm not getting Swift Mind, so I think I should compensate by reducing my stamina cost with agility. But let's say in this example, I really want to be able to dodge after my parry and have it heal me with Spirit Free. Well, I could just put 1 point into Spirit Free to unlock the ability to dodge, and I can still put my other 3 points into agility. That way I get to play the weird niche talent that I want to use, but maybe I don't throw my whole board's value just for the memes. And then I said I want dash, so we can put 1 point in that to unlock it, costing 15% stamina per second when using. And then use 1 point on Swift Mind, because I'm super indecisive and everyone tells me to use Swift Mind, but I'm stubborn and I want to do this stupid running attack. So this is just one example of how to go through the thought process of deciding what you want from your talent build. Like, let's say you want Light Step for the disengage instead of all this crazy stuff we did with the purple tree. At any time, you can just go in here and remove points, refund them, and choose a different path. So now let's see what green nodes we really want on our way to Light Step. So my first thought here is bonus health could be really great here, since Valda's ultimate's overhealth shield actually scales off of her health and not her armor, but 30 HP is just not enough for me to sink points into robust. So we will go with Body Enraged. Now if I'm going for hot drops with a bunch of enemies around, it could benefit me to go with Heartfire to have my ultimate before anyone else, but if I'm playing more passively in the beginning, I think a big blunt would be the way to go here. Let's say I'm looking for a relaxed, chill game, so I'm going to go all in on the blunt to keep my health and armor as high as they can be. So now I can get Light Step, and again, 1 point in this node unlocks the ability, a second point just makes it stronger with extra disengage distance. You go about twice as far away with the improved disengage, but it's still counterable with a grapple, yet if we look at Resolute over here, it offers us a potential 10% damage reduction buff for 15 seconds after we use our ultimate. However, Valda's ultimate already gives us a big overhealth shield. I don't think we really need 10% damage reduction there. If you lose your Valda ultimate early because the enemy took all your shield health away, it's probably your own fault, right? So let's just put this point into Empowered Disengage and call it good. I'm sure you've noticed the different quadrants have some loosely followed themes. Purple is for stamina and dodging. Red is for skills, ultimates, and rage. Green is for survivability. And blue is for money and luck. Overall, I'd say these changes to the talent glyph system have been pretty good for the game. They introduced some interesting new mechanics like the sprint dash. I actually love this move so much, even though it's kind of bad to pick Spirit Dash over Swift Mind. But it's all about playing what you have fun with and what makes you happy. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all in the next one.